Hey, it's Luke, and in this video, I'm gonna show you how to send cold emails to get new clients into your social media marketing agency, into coaching clients for online coaching services, whatever you're trying to do. If you're trying to send a cold email to a complete stranger and get them to pay you for your services or your attention or your products, this is gonna work great for you. And in case you're wondering, no, I'm not fresh to this. If you wanna check out how I scored my first 500K profit, go check out the video, save it. I'm gonna pop up a card to it here. Most of that was scored using this cold email strategy that I'm about to share with you. So pay attention if you're trying to boost your sales here in 2022 and grow your business. Now, before we get started, I'd like to invite you to a free presentation that I put together on the 5 secret keys to generating leads and sales for your business here in 2022. This is the in the trenches strategies that are working right now to grow my personal companies. And I want to share with you exactly what's working so you can blow up your business too. So go over to 5secretkeys.com if you want to check that out. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this video on how to send cold emails to get clients into your social media marketing agency and or online coaching business. First up, let's get crystal freaking clear on what is the purpose of sending out cold emails versus the other email marketing that I just mentioned. The purpose of cold emails is single fold, and it is one, to score a meeting. We're not trying to sell our services. We're not trying to sell ourselves. We're trying to get the other person that we're sending this email to invest a little bit of time with us on a phone call and preferably a Zoom call. Secondary, but equally as important, we're trying to leave a first impression that will increase the likelihood of us doing business, getting a sale with that person in the future. Meaning it's not enough to just get the meeting based on basically persuading them into that meeting for some random ass reason that's going to get their attention but harm the likelihood that we're making the sale. I want you to keep this in mind in the macro as well as the micro, meaning when you're writing subject lines to get somebody to open an email, think, does this actually increase my likelihood of getting the sale, having a great relationship with the client where they're coming back every month to pay me for our services, that they're going to want to meet up with me in person. Your relationship starts at the subject line. So remember, in the micro and the macro, most of the advice that I share with you today will apply to both lenses. Next up, let's talk about the anatomy of a cold email. So essentially, we're going to have a subject line, a first line, a body copy, and the call to action. Now, in the subject line, the purpose is to get the email opened. We're going to get their attention, and that's the main goal of the subject line, just getting them to stop their scroll. Just like you're making a social media post, the main tip here for you is to offer contrast. Show them something new, something novel. It's got to be different than the other stuff in their inbox. If it is, it will stop that scroll. We'll dive much deeper on how to craft a subject line here in a moment, but that'll get us started. Next up is the first line, or otherwise people call it the personalized line. This is your hook of the email. The goal of this part is to generate interest to continue reading further. Not necessarily generating interest to meet with us just yet. The goal is simply to generate interest in reading the rest of the email. Next up is the body copy. Now this is going to be the meat of your email. Essentially here we are selling the meeting. Remember, the goal of cold emails is to score a meeting, not to sell our services or ourselves. It is simply to get the meeting. So here is where we are pitching, where we are selling the benefits of meeting with us. Stated in other terms, the goal of the body copy of your email is to generate desire to meet with you. The final part to a successful cold email is the call to action. And a call to action is essentially giving them clear instructions on how to cash in on the benefit of meeting with you. If you sold the benefits of meeting with you properly, this will give them clear instructions on how to get those benefits. Meaning the goal to the call to action is to get them to take action and book a meeting with you. Now, if you're not familiar with cold emails, let me show you a couple examples of cold emails. First of which, we'll start with the very first email that I got success with. This is a short and sweet cold email, and essentially it went like this. Hi James, there are a lot of wealthy homeowners browsing Facebook and Instagram in your local area. Last year, we generated $2.4 million of new remodeling business for a company out of Dallas, Texas from these sources alone. I'd like to talk to you about how we can do the same for you. Please select the time that works best for you. Look forward to hearing from you. Luke Voigt. And that please select the time that works best for you was linked up with my calendar. This is how I scored my first 3 to 5 clients before I started moving on to a different version of this email that was a bit longer. There are many different styles of cold emails. I call this one the short, sweet, and to the point. Essentially, we're dangling a carrot of an opportunity and asking them if they want to cash in on it. If you'll see here, I didn't pitch anything about my services. I didn't really talk about me. I said, hey, here's this thing we did for this company that's similar to yours. If you'd like to have a conversation about how we might do it for you, then let's talk. On one level, you might be thinking, well, yeah, I pitched the services. Not necessarily. I didn't really tell them what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, the pricing structure, how long it's going to take. A lot of these mistakes that I see beginners make when they try their first cold email campaigns. Here is a different style of cold email. It's a bit more customized, and this is more medium length. Hey, Brittany, I love your recent podcast about sleep hacks. I thought it was super cool that you're educating people on how to get great sleep, especially because you're a coffee company. Shows you really care about your customers. Anyways, I wanted to see if I could add some value to Beans Coffee, so I recorded a quick video with a few ideas for your Instagram ads. And in this, I'm imagining that those last couple words are linked up with a screen share video that I took looking at their Instagram profile, pointing out some Instagram ad strategies that we might implement to grow their business. Next up, my agency used a similar strategy to boost Tivana's sales on Instagram from $20,000 a month to $300,000 per month. So I have every reason to believe it'll work for you. Basically saying, here's this case study that I did what I'm telling you I could do for you. And we have proof that it works for a similar company. So why would it not work for you? Happy to share some more ideas and would love a chance to meet you on Zoom. Looking forward to hearing from you. And then Luke Voigt, founder and CEO, whatever you call your agency. The third style of cold email that I like to try out is a long form email, where basically I'm putting in every single piece of information they would need in order to decide if I was worth having a meeting with. And this one comes when you're a bit more advanced in copywriting. I don't recommend a pure beginner starts out with long form copy. It's kind of like the shorter and sweeter and to the point you can be. When you don't have copywriting skills, the better, because you have less of a chance of messing it up or revealing that you're an amateur in your copywriting. So this short and this medium style is a great place to start if you are a beginner. Okay, now let's talk about the actual writing of these emails. What do you put inside of the email? Here's a few subject lines that'll work pretty much in every industry you could imagine. So one that has worked for a lot of my students is, I'm interested in partnering with company name. This is the subject line that worked for my first 5 to 10, probably 20 different clients that I got through my cold emails. The only thing I didn't put here is I would say their first name first. So I would say James, I'm interested in partnering with Brightside Remodeling. On average, that got me about a 60% open rate. I like this subject line because it communicates intent clearly. So they're expecting to be pitched something, and it's also not a fake subject line trying to get them to open it. What I'm talking about here is if you say family emergency in all caps, you're going to get a near 100% open rate, but they're going to be pissed when they open it up and you're pitching them something. So the more aligned you can be with what you're actually asking for inside of the email, the better it's going to start off that client relationship in the right direction. Remember, open rates aren't everything. You can do a lot of things to get 90 to 100% open rates, but you want to lay up the sale. So I'd rather have a 20% open rate with clear intent than have 80% plus with a fake kind of catchy subject line to try and get them to open it for no apparent reason. Next one that my business partner Michael loves is 2 relevant emojis. So for example, if we are trying to reach out to a home brew company and they're trying to expand their brand, right? We might do beer and a money emoji. It has to be related, right? You don't want to do an eggplant emoji and a drooling face if you're talking about helping them do Facebook ads. Use your logic here. Don't go too off the wall, but if it's funny, you can try it out, and this one works great. Last subject line is going to be, this is more of a template. So curiosity plus benefits work really well. I'll give you an example. So new UGCB ad strategy that'll 10x Pandora's revenues in 2022. So essentially introduce them to some new mechanism or some new variation of some existing type of thing that they're familiar with, plus tie it in with a benefit that they can achieve for their company. If you guys want deeper dives on copywriting strategies, let me know in the comments. I can make hours and hours of videos. I already have them out there floating around in private courses, but I'm happy to share them here with you on YouTube. All right, first line copywriting. Essentially, we want to present a new opportunity, come in guns blazing. Like the short version I showed with you above, I said, hey, James, there are wealthy homeowners browsing Facebook and Instagram in your local area. That was my first line. I'm basically saying, yo dude, there's this money flying all around you. That is a huge opportunity. I'm just slapping them in the face with it. That is one approach. The other approach, which is a bit safer as a beginner, is to prove that it's a custom email with that first line by using a compliment or some type of context for why you're reaching out. Back up to our previous example on the medium length one. I said, hey, I loved your podcast episode about blank. They know if I come in with that first line that I'm actually looking into them as a person. I'm not sending this as a copy paste email to everybody else. I'm making something completely custom for them. This is going to increase the rate of read through. It's going to increase the interest for them reading through. Next up, we got body copy copywriting. Now, this is the place where you say, here is what I can do for you, and here's why you should believe that I can do it. You can say this directly like I did in that first short, sweet email where we're coming in and basically saying, I can expand your business, I can blow you guys up. So that's a direct way of saying, here's what I can do for you. Or you can go a bit more indirect and imply it. You can imply what you can do for people by giving them a quick value add of new information that'll help them grow, or a video, a custom video, which is really popular, works really, really well if you do a screen share video and you're sharing some ideas to do what you're saying you're gonna do. So example, you're sharing some new ad strategies, showing some examples of past clients you've worked with, and you're showing off what you've done for other companies in the past and implying that you can do it for them. In that same vein, a simple case study will go a long way in the body copy, talking about what you've done for somebody else and implying again that you can do it for that company you're reaching out to. If you recall from my short email, I used a case study by saying, hey, we helped this Dallas, Texas company add an additional 2.4 million to their revenues last year, and we want to talk about how we can do the same for you. You can go really detailed on your case study, and you can keep it short and sweet like I did. And for me, that worked fine. The level to which you'll need to describe your case study depends on the relative competition. So for example, if you're offering Facebook ads to fashion brands, there are a ton of people competing. So it's probably going to take a little bit more. A video would be helpful. A lot of times, if there's a lot of competition, if it's a red ocean, you can't really get away with those short and sweet emails like I did in remodeling at the time, which at the time that I was reaching out was a very blue ocean. There were not a lot of competitors. Now it's getting pretty feisty over there. So you probably need a little bit more there too. Last up is going to be call to action. This is where we're saying, hey, would you be interested in a quick 15-minute conversation where I can show you how to blank, blank, blank. This is going to be where you're posting in the benefits that we pitched and hinted at or implied to in the copywriting above. One of my favorite call to actions, which has resulted in more calls and ultimately more clients for me than anything else, is saying, please select a time that works best for you and hyperlinking that text to my calendar. I really like this approach because you'll just wake up to calls being booked into your schedule after you've reached out. It's a really cool feeling when you start reaching out all week long, and then while you're sitting on Sunday or Saturday and chilling with your friends, you see calls being booked and you're filling up your calendar for that next week. The other call to action you can use is more of an indirect approach where we're saying, would love to speak with you about this topic. And then you basically let them suggest a meeting to imply that it was their idea to have this conversation. You should test all three of these approaches. And again, these are things that you can use as a platform to get you started in the right direction. The most important part to the copywriting process is writing your follow-up messages. I've made more money on emails 2, 3, 4, and 5 than almost every email number 1 out there combined. Hopefully that makes sense. What I'm saying is there's fortune in the follow-up. You've heard that a million times. That's not just for sales itself, that's for cold emails. So here's the basic strategy that I recommend you follow. Email number 1 is the pitch. For that, we're going to use the copywriting formula that we just went through. So go back and use that to write your first email. Now, email number 2 is what I call the bump. Only if they do not respond to email number 1, we're going to send them email number 2. And in this one, we're assuming that they missed the email or opened and didn't have time to respond. So we're not going to take it personally if they don't respond. We're not going to assume that they're not interested. We're going to assume that they're interested, but they just didn't see it. So let's float up that original email to the top of their inbox by replying to the first message with a quick message, something along the lines of, hey, James, I'm sure you're busy. Just wanted to make sure this didn't get buried. Thanks. Literally, something as simple as that. You don't need to think through it at all. Literally just a quick bump to float it up to the top of their email inbox. Email number 3 is going to take the most thought. This is the expansion email. I like to assume that the first email caught their attention, but maybe they were skeptical. Maybe they needed more information before they're willing to invest time with you on the call. So I will break down further. exactly what it is that I have to offer, exactly why they should trust me and believe that I can actually do this for them. I'm gonna lay out 1, 2, maybe 3 different case studies. This email for me is going to be extremely long, 500 to 700 words at some cases. This one works really well, and a lot of times the response I get to this one was, hey, I saw that first email, it looked really cheesy, but this one tells me you're legit, or something along those lines, and that's why they booked a call. And a lot of times I'll be on that sales call and they'll say the same thing. Hey, that first email came through, it was interesting, but I thought you were just one of those other guys. When you sent me that second email, they always perceive it to be the second email because my second email is a bump. So they say, when you sent me that second email, it really caught my attention and I was interested. So here's why we are here today. Here's why I'm on this call. Now, email number 4, we want to come in with a different angle. Maybe on the first, second, and third emails, you came in with an opportunity to make more money. If that didn't work, now try hitting the will help you save money angle, because clearly that carrot that you're dangling to them is not appealing. Clearly the angle that you've hit on with the other emails is not enough to get them to book with you. There's a great book by Heidi Halverson called Nobody Understands You and What You Can Do About It. And in that book, she talks about the 2 perspectives that people, business owners, can come from. One is the expansion mindset. They're basically trying to expand and grow their business. And the other one is a protection mode. They're scared. This is typically going to be more conservative people trying to hold on to their wealth. And if they're in that mode, you've got to appeal to that part of their brain where they're trying to protect what they've already earned, not lose the things that they've already built. So that's why on email number 4, I like to hit the opposite angle. So if I was coming in, for example, helping them protect and save what they've built on emails 1, 2, and 3, on email number 4, I'm going to scratch that and talk about growing their business rapidly, expanding, exploding. I'm going to talk about the potential of growth, basically hitting the complete opposite angle on email number 4. Now, email number 5 is going to be the breakup email. In the breakup email, clearly they're not interested. You've sent them 4 freaking emails. So I like to come in and say something funny here. I'm like, well, maybe next year is a better time to grow your business. And this one I get a bit cheeky with. It's a little too hard to go into here on a quick video, but essentially we're coming off a bit standoffish. We're saying, look, clearly you're not interested. This is the last time I'll reach out to you. It's not going to happen again. So not coming at it from an ego perspective. If you want to learn more about the breakup email, write in the comments so I can make a whole video on that. Next up, we're going to talk about list building, and I recommend that you group your lists by commonalities that allow you to skip customization of the emails. Now, every email is going to be customized a little bit, or at least it should be. So for example, if you are reaching out to vegan brands, Christian brands, etc., you want to separate these out into different lists. So for example, if you're opening with a compliment on the mission of the company on the vegan brands, you can say something like, hey, I see how you guys are helping with sustainable impacts on the earth, or whatever heartstrings that vegan brands are pulling on today. Compliment them, tell them you love the mission, you want to get behind it, and that is how you can open all of your emails for the vegan companies. This might seem insignificant, but it will save you a lot of time as you pick up volume here. I probably don't need to say this, but use Google Sheets for your organization, or at least Excel sheets. Google Sheets is awesome. If you don't know how to find the names and emails of the people you're trying to reach out to, there are so many tools out there. Rocket Reach is one of them. I recommend you check out Ravi Abuwala's How to Find Anyone's Email video. Go search his channel. I'll put a link for it in the description for you guys. But one of the first moves you want to make, one of the first hires, if you don't have anybody else on your team right now, is hire a VA from the Philippines over at onlinejobs.ph. If you'd like, I have hours and hours of training on how to hire up, select, train your VAs to be able to execute, find names and emails of companies and build your lists for you. If you want that, let me know. But essentially, you want to go hire a helper. They'll work for $3 to $5 an hour and they will get a lot done in an hour. Trust me. Next up is delivering your cold emails. How do we actually send them and get them opened so we can start these conversations and score some deals? There's a lot of different softwares out there. If you want to go the automated route, I recommend Lemlist right now. If you want to go the manual route, at least use something like HubSpot so you can track which group of people you reached out to and when, and you can see their open tracking. I like that better than the plugins that you install into the Gmail inbox. HubSpot is a great way to do this manually if you're dealing with lower volumes. If you're going higher, use Lemlist for sure. You want to plug in your emails to fire off every 2 or 3 days in their follow-up sequence. So for example, if you send an email on Monday, send your next one on Wednesday. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but here's a pro tip. On your email number 2, you want to set it on the setting of replying to the original message. Lemlist has that feature, or definitely if you're doing manual emails through HubSpot or something like that, you can do this, reply to your original message. We want to do that so we get the subject line. Because remember, email number 2 is just a bump to float up our email number 1 to the top of their email inbox, assuming that they were just busy or they missed that first email. That subject line is going to make it look like they already have been engaged in a conversation with you. It's one of those little hacks to get more opens. Last up is going to be converting the email responses into deals, and more accurately, converting people's responses into meetings and then deals. This topic could have its own 2 to 3 hour presentation, but I will give you a few tips to get you off on the right foot here. 1, send your calendar link the second they come back with interest. It is best to eliminate the back and forth. I cannot stand when people are like, hey, I'm interested, and then you say, oh great, what time works for you? And they send some times and then they drop off. That is the most depressing thing ever, when you get somebody who's interested right there and you lose them because of something stupid like that. So set up a link on Calendly to book a meeting with you. If you have a detailed application somewhere, this is not the place for this. On the Calendly link here, you want to just have name, email, and phone number. When you're doing cold emails, they're assuming that you already looked into them and pre-qualified them. It's weird to make them qualify themselves to book into your schedule after you sending a cold email to them. If they're coming through inbound marketing through Facebook ads or your website or LinkedIn, it makes more sense to have a detailed application to speak with you. But in the cold email sense, just have name, email, and phone number on your Calendly link. Again, don't take it personally if they express interest and then drop off the face of the earth. This is just like dating. Assume it is never personal. Be persistent, check in once a week with zero ego. Just assume that they're busy, but they still want to meet with you. Unless they say no, stop talking to me, you gotta assume it is a not yet, not a no. Just like dating here, you wanna be excited and positive, but not desperate or eager. Be chill, confident, direct. Remember, act like you are on their level or above. You're a big business owner, you're an agency owner, and you're just trying to grow your business and expand. This isn't like you're asking them to be your virginity lay, or you are asking them to be your first client, to put food in your mouth with their business. Desperation repels, abundance attracts. Remember that as you're writing your emails. Was that helpful for you? If it was, leave me a comment down below to let me know. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. And again, if you'd like to check out the free presentation I put together on the online marketing strategies that are working right now here in 2022, in the trenches, things I'm using to grow my personal companies from thin air, starting from scratch. These aren't outdated strategies, from somebody who did something once and is now earning all his money from online coaching and things like that. I'm using this stuff right now to grow my companies. If you want to see what's actually working in the trenches, go check it out over on 5secretkeys.com, and I will see you on that presentation. See you on the next video. Thanks for watching, and we will talk soon. Peace.